Some innovators like to watch the world, they're observers. Others are talkers. They like to talk with people in the world they live in. We call them idea networkers. This is different than the kind of networking that we normally do. Often we network to get jobs or to advance our career. Or we're networking with people to get resources to get something done. Those things are important, but it's not the kind of networking we're talking about. Networking for ideas means I've got a problem, I'm trying to get a solution to it, and I intentionally talk with people in order to get a spark, a new direction, a new way of thinking about the situation. So think about it. Everybody's got a problem. I've got problems, you probably have problems for which you don't have solutions. If you've got that kind of situation, you could identify some people. You might even want to make a list of people that you would go talk to in order to get some great new ideas. In other words, this person, that person, you think to yourself, if I talked with them, I have confidence that they would help me see this differently because they see the world differently than I do. If you're a man, do you have women on your list? If you're a woman, do you have a man on your list? We see the world differently. If you're in an accounting background, do you have somebody from a marketing background or a medical background on your list, a different technical background? If you're in the healthcare industry, do you have someone in the chemical industry on your list? By switching industries, we can see things differently. If you're from Zimbabwe, do you have somebody on there from Singapore? Different countries make an incredible difference in terms of being able to see the world differently. Do you have somebody on your list who's from a different political persuasion? You're on the right, they're on the left, you're conservative, they're liberal. That can make a difference. Do you have somebody who's maybe 30 years older than you on the list? Or perhaps if you're my age, somebody who's 30 years or more younger than you are on the list. Mark Benioff, again the founder of Salesforce.com, cloud computing, arguably started that whole industry. He started Salesforce over a decade ago, and essentially now he's in his early 40s, which is ancient for the internet. He knows that, he's aware of it. He systematically asks young entrepreneurs, young technical people to come to his house for dinner. Why is he doing that? He's networking for ideas to get new perspectives on things. One of those dinners had Drew Houston, the founder of Dropbox, who's much younger than Mark Benioff is, and they were talking about different issues, and those conversations led Salesforce.com to build a new product called Chatter, which combines Twitter and Facebook in novel ways to work inside of an enterprise-level software system. The idea probably wouldn't have happened without that kind of conversation across generational differences. The McVicker brothers were in the business of making industrial putty. One of them was married to a woman who basically was in the educational industry, different place, different context. She was a teacher. She was complaining one day at dinner about the struggle of, you've got this Play-Doh, but it wasn't Play-Doh really, it was that stuff you put the flour and the salt and the water together and you make stuff with it and it usually dries out and falls apart. She was complaining about those problems. The McVicker brothers basically said, we make this industrial putty for industrial purposes. Why don't you take a can of that to your students tomorrow and see if they can play and sculpt and do great things with it. She tried it. The kids loved it. It's now over 50 years later, 2 billion cans of Play-Doh later, but that whole business product of Play-Doh came from a conversation at a dinner table between somebody in the educational industry and somebody making industrial putty. That's what works with networking for ideas. We talk to people who aren't like us.